The Kaidai-type submarine was a type of first-class submarine operated by the Imperial Japanese Navy before and during World War II. The type name was shortened to Kaigun-shiki Ōgata Sensuikan. All Kaidai-class submarines originally had a two-digit boat name, from I-51 onwards. On the 20th of May 1942, all Kaidai submarines added A-1 to the name. For example, I-52 became I-152. Ships are listed by the three-digit boat name if they had one, two-digit if they were not granted one or left service before the 20th of May 1942. Class variants. The Kaidai-type submarines were divided into 7 classes and 2 subclasses: Kaidai-I, Kaidai-II, Kaidai-IA, Kaidai-IB, Kaidai-IV, Kaidai-V, Kaidai-VIA, Kaidai-VIB, Kaidai-7, Kaidai-I. Project number S-22. The prototype for the class, the sole Kaidai-I I-51, was based on World War I-era German submarines. She was completed in 1924, refitted with new engines in 1932 and scrapped in 1941. I-51 never saw combat. Boat in class, Kaidai-II. Project number S-25. There was only one Kaidai-II I-152 planned under the 86 fleet together with the I-51. She was completed in 1924, used as a training vessel until mid-1942, then struck from service. She was scrapped in 1946. Boat in class, Kaidai-IA. Project number S-26 and S-27. The 9 Kaidai-IIs were based on earlier designs, but featured a strengthened hull. The IIIB types were 40 centimeters longer and had a different bow design. All 9 boats were constructed between 1927 and 1930. Of the 9 Kaidai-IIs, 7 survived the war, as they spent much of the time as training vessels. These were scuttled or scrapped shortly after the end of World War II. I-63 was sunk in a collision with I-60 in 1939, the former losing all her crew. I-63 was refloated and scrapped in 1940. I-60 was later sunk by HMS Jupiter. Boats in classes, Kaidai-IV. Project number S-28. Slightly smaller than her predecessors and with only 4 torpedo tubes. 3 Kaidai-IVs were constructed between 1929 and 1930, I-61, I-162, and I-164. I-61 was lost in a collision in 1941. I-164 was sunk by US Triton on the 17th of May 1942. I-162 survived the war. Boats in class, Kaidai-IV. Project number S-29. 3 Kaidai-verses were constructed, I-165, I-166, and I-67, which were all completed in 1932. The design saw the upgrade of the deck weapon from a 50 cal to a 65 cal dual-purpose gun. The submarine was also slightly wider and taller, with an increased crew complement of 75 and an increased maximum depth of 230 feet. I-165 was modified in 1945, her gun removed and 2 Kaiten midget submarines, manned torpedoes substituted. None of the Kaidai-verses survived World War II. I-67 was lost with all 87 crew during an exercise in 1940. I-165 was sunk on the 27th of June 1945 off the east coast of Saipan. I-166 was sunk by the British submarine HMS Telemachus on the 17th of July 1944 off the coast of Singapore. Kaidai-type project number S-31 and S-34. They were built in 1931–34 under the Maru 1 program and the Maru 2 program. Constructed between 1934 and 1938, 8 Kaidai-types were built: I-168, I-169, I-70, I-171, I-172, I-73, I-174, and I-175. At 23 knots. This type had the fastest surface speed for any submarine at the time of construction, although the speed was bettered slightly by later Japanese submarines. I-174 and I-175 were of the Kaidai-type subtype. They were 30 centimeters longer, 25 tons heavier, and equipped with a 50 cal deck weapon instead of a 65 cal. Kaidai-types contributed to the sinking of 2 American aircraft carriers during World War II. The destruction of these submarines also holds some milestones. I-70 was Japan's first major warship casualty in World War II, and the sinking of I-73 represented the first warship killed by a United States Navy submarine in the war. Boats in classes. Kaidai-7 project number S-41. The final design in the Kaidai-class 10 Kaidai-types were ordered in 1939, and were completed over the course of 1942 and 1943. They were built in 1939 under the Maru 4 program. The IJN called New Kaidai unofficially, and intended to replace this type with Kaidai-3 and Kaidai-AV, instead of possessing some aft-firing torpedo tubes as all other predecessors did. The Kaidai-type's 6 tubes all faced forward. They had an endurance of 75 days. 7 of the 10 Kaidai-types were sunk within the first year of operation, and all 10 vessels were sunk by October 1944. Boats in class. Characteristics.